Hello everybody. Today I will start a topic that is related to chess, but not actually the chess related to chess playing. Okay, I like to talk about chessmen in general. That's not a secret that these days there are chess seats everywhere, and you can buy certain features, a lot of replicas, and so on. For me, choosing a chess set is a really important feature and a really important thing to do. However, my approach to choosing a chessman set is based on probably practical side than anything else. I'll explain to you what I mean. Um, in general, my approach is to any kind of thing that we use in our life. Um, from the from the point that of its usability, right? Usefulness. So here, chess set is no different than like a pair of glasses, right? We use that for see better, right? See better. Same thing is the chess set. Chess set that we require in our life is for playing chess, right? It's not for putting in the shelf and saying like, well, how beautiful it is. Look at that, like a trophy or exponent in the museum. So my approach to choosing a chess set is from practical side. Okay. Um, Here I would say that I distinguish four different things that I choose a chess set are essential. So the chess set should be sturdy and durable, meaning that if you play a lot, if you analyze, if you accidentally drop a piece or something happens to that, like your cat chew on your piece or whatever, so the chess set is not really ruined, right? So it is still having some strength to withhold some kind of mechanical um, interference, let's say. Second of all, chess should be comfortable to play in terms of easy to grab, not too big, not too heavy, um, easy to move. It shouldn't create some kind of discomfort once you are moving a chess piece while you are playing. Third thing is, which is less important but equally included, it is the overall aesthetical look of the chess pieces. Uh, why it is important, I'm not gonna discuss which chess set is better, which is more beautiful or not. Um, my approach is from the point that chess set shouldn't distract you while you are playing, right? So the pieces should be equally nice and beautiful, but as well as strict and plain. So any unusual look of any chess piece shouldn't really distract you during your play. Okay, that's why probably most of the chess sets are or less, well, like that are used in like top tournaments and so on. In the fourth feature, chess set again should be affordable. Okay, I will go through those paragraphs one by one and just try to explain what I mean by every one of them. Okay, so saying that the chess set should be durable, that again, it should be as resistant to any mechanical damages as possible. Okay, so here we obviously know that plastic is the most durable material, in fact, for chessmen. That's why most of the chess clubs are actually purchasing those chess sets, which are really, really cheap and they're very durable. Usually, those chessmen sets they are not really weighted, so they are basically a plastic cast and a little bit of paper at the bottom, which allows them to slide. But usually they not for those chess sets you use regular silicone or plastic boards, which are also really cheap, and it's not really essential even for those pieces to slide on those boards, right? So from that perspective, saying about plastic chessmen, recently there were a lot of different chessmen types developed as well. So those big sites like House of Stanton, for example, they offer different, a wide variety of different chess seats. Here, one sample is actually replica of the Reykjavik chess seat, which is Fischer Spassky 1972 match chess seat in plastic. Okay, equally good. Here is another one which is called, I believe, Imperial Collector series chess set. So some of them are really similar to each other, like this one, for example, a quadruple weighted chess set and so on. Also, this one, most of them look really similar, by the way. Okay? The main feature of the chess sets, plastic chess sets, is their durability, of course, and a lot of chess sets like this one, for example, that I'm looking at, they are weighted, which means that they are quite heavy pieces, right? Quadruple weighted pieces probably resemble more triple weighted wooden pieces, because plastic in fact is a little bit of a kind of light material, and in order to match the wooden chess set weight, they would probably need to be adding slightly more weights to that. Okay, so durable, um, um, really nice chess seats. Okay, well, the price range of those seats is actually coming to more than probably $80 to $100. Some of them you can buy for $20, $30, around that. I mean, good ones. Okay, so this is all about plastic chess seats. I would concentrate more on wooden chess sets. Why? Because first of all, plastic chess sets, even though there is a variety of them, they are not really matching the most featured wooden chess sets, historical chess sets, and so on. Why? Because I believe that it's depending on the process of manufacturing of plastic chess sets. Basically, it is casting, right? You're casting plastic into forms, and then to do produce the chessmen. But creating the forms for those for the casting is actually a really um, time-consuming feature, I believe. Okay? Time-consuming process, and I believe that not all of the chessmen could be replicated in plastic by some reason. Speaking about wooden chess sets, from the point of durability, there are different ones, and basically most of the chess sets are made of hard types of wood, such as boxwood. Here is the sample of the boxwood chess set, right, which is called, I believe, either Botvinnik floor chess set. Basically, it is a Soviet chess set from the period of 1935 to probably 1960s, something like that. Okay, so the wooden chess set are made of hardwoods, such as boxwood, as I mentioned. The different types of woods are also used for the black chess pieces, which could be ebony, it's quite hard type of wood, rosewood, all kind of types of rosewood as well, and so on and so forth. So durable, really hard types of wood. Okay. Wooden chess sets have a really one feature that is not really nice. Wood by itself is a material that with aging could shrink, unfortunately. It could move, it could shrink. And the worst thing is it could crack. Right? We all know that there are some ways inserted in the chess pieces to make them heavier. So exactly that thing, weights attached to the chess pieces, make some of them susceptible to cracking. Because wood shrinks, however, the metal inside doesn't follow the same thing, and therefore cracks because of that. Okay, but that aside, I will talk about it a little bit later once I'm discussing the weights. Wooden chess sets are presented with a just enormous variety of different chessmen here. So here is the one that I've just seen. It is a Botvinnik floor, or so-called Soviet chess set from 1935 to 1960. There is the regular and the most common one with the German type of knights. Also very common. It is also used in the top chess tournaments, such as the latest one in Romania, for example, and all others. Right? Really nice chess set. Not too expensive, by the way, which makes it really common. This is the one that I own. This is called the Zagreb chess set of 1959. I like this one because of some other features which I'll mention further on. It is really durable because it is made of boxwood and ebonized boxwood. So basically it is the same type of wood, just painted, right? And then lacquered. I will talk about this durability a little bit later, why I've chosen this particular set for myself. But just going forward, this is another chess set which is called the Dubrovnik chess set. That was the favorite chess set of Bobby Fischer. That's why it is a lot, it's really popular, by the way. One of the best-selling chess sets in on all the retailer chess websites. The nice feature of this chess set is actually the shapes of the pieces, right? So it's really compact pieces, really nicely could be held in hand. Also the feature of this chess knight, which is made of like one piece of wood. You see that the head of the horse is not really separated from the neck, so it's like one piece of wood. This is the really famous Reykjavik chess set, which is had shown you in plastic. This is the actual chess set signed by Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky. Absolutely astonishing chess set, except one detail. And this detail is the rook. I will talk about it a little bit later again, but this thing fails the durability test. And I'll explain why. You probably already guessed why, but we'll come back to that later on. This is the chess set which is called the Tal chess set, because you see Mikhail Tal playing the game, right? And here the interesting feature is that it's actually not the Tal chess set. It is the chess set which was used in the tournament of 1961. And the interesting feature about that chess set is look at the base of the pieces. Look at the pawns. The base is really thick and wide, right? As well as look at the knights of this chess set. They have a really interesting feature where their the knights, the horse heads are turned a little bit up. Okay, so that makes this noticeable. This chess set really noticeable. This is so-called Valdai chess set. Those days, you can see how thin the nicks are, which makes this chess set is really, from the durability point of view, not really practical, because this kind of thing could be easily cracked, right? The base of this chess pieces really the base is really wide, because these chess pieces were weighted not a lot. Okay, so there was probably a little bit of lead inserted in there. Therefore, for the stability, the bases should be really wide. Okay. Here is the replica of so-called Sinkfeld 2014 chess cup used in this tournament. This is also a replica. Why? Because if you are really into the chess sets, you will notice slight differences to the original chess set, right? But equally good. You see that this chess set is made of boxwood and rosewood, which makes it, really durable as well. Okay, so now what I wanted to do as well is to with regards to the durability, I explained more or less the features of the um, these chess seats, right? And what I also wanted to do is just to go to the uh, some of the uh, features of the chessmen which make them more or less durable. Okay, I'll explain why it is really important. So let me just quickly do one here, and I'll be going to the um, covering of those features. Okay, right. So the durability of the chess pieces is not only depending on the material they're made of, but also on the shape of the features, shape of the chessmen. Okay, and from this perspective, I can go and compare some of the parts of the chessmen to notice some of the no, some of them are more fragile than the others and so on. So basically, what we can say is that for the most vulnerable parts of the chess seats are for the queens, it is their crowns. If they're too thin and you accidentally drop the queen, those things that easily just chip or come off. Okay. For the bishops, it is if this kind of cut is really deep, that makes both of those sides are really thin. And again, if you drop the piece accidentally, that is really susceptible to cracking and chipping. Okay. The knights, the most vulnerable part of the knights are their is their muzzle and also the jaws. Okay, the majority of the chess knights are made in the L shape, which is this one, right? It's L shape, and the more fragile their jaw part here, the muzzle part is, the more susceptible that to chipping and cracking if the piece is accidentally dropped. Okay, and also if the wood shrinks, that could also produce some cracking on the chess seat. Okay. The last but not least thing is the pawn colors. Oh god, those ones um, chip really easily, especially when the wood is dry or when you store the chess pieces in one box and put all the pawns inside. So that's why I don't really like the thin colors of the pawns because they are really fragile. You need to be really careful. Or you need, if the chess set is really expensive, you need to store them in special cases where each piece has like a little place in there, right? So it is really not kind of interacting with other pieces. Okay. And from the same perspective, look at how durable the Zagreb chess set is compared to this queen compared with the other one. So all of the colors here, they are nicely rounded, they're thick. The crown itself is really thick as well. There are no other parts of the piece that have really kind of sticking out uh, uh, you know fragments. Okay, as well as here, look at the middle bishop, which is taken from the Reykjavik chess set. Okay, even if it has the cut in the head, right? It's really featured cut for the bishops. It's not too wide, and it actually that makes this head really durable as well. This is the Zagreb one. This doesn't have any cut at all. Okay, so that's as durable as possible. This one is also the knight from the Reykjavik chess set, although that's not really exactly replicating the Reykjavik chess set because the knight is a little bit different there. However, it is a good replica. It's really sturdy and durable. Look at this muzzle; it won't crack at all. And this is the Zagreb chess set. This is as durable as possible because there are no sticking out parts from the head of the knight, and the muzzle is facing, it's turned down. Okay, so this is as durable as possible, probably. And compared with those pawns, again, look at the ones on the right. So look at the colors. These ones are really, really, sturdy, unlikely to chip at all. It's thick, okay, compared with those ones. Okay, so that's all about the shapes of the pieces that could be vulnerable to some of the, mechanical damages and so on. Okay. Um, Again, I'm not discussing here any aesthetic look of the pieces or what looks better or not. My approach is from the practical side. Okay. Now, I will just quickly move to another part, which means the comfortability of chess pieces, right? So once you play, you should be able to easily grab the piece. It shouldn't be, kind of too slippery. It shouldn't be too, you know, too heavy as well. So from the shape perspective, all of the pieces are actually designed in terms of grabbing them in the most comfortable way. Okay, you notice that all of the pieces have heads, which are designed actually for our pinch grip. Okay, so that's what I kind of have drawn here. So this is the typical queen head, which is perfectly designed for pinch grip. Okay, so you can easily pinch that and take that with your 3 fingers and move that one. One can say that, well, look, for the purposes of like blitz play, the pieces are, it's not really essential how pieces are formed, well, within reasonable assumption. So there you probably grab the pieces with your whole hand and move them because you need to be really fast and there is no time to pinch that, like, and move that, in a nice way. Okay, so here I would say that some of the pieces are not too good from that perspective in terms of they cannot be easily grabbed at all. So here I put a sample of the some of the bishop heads that, in my opinion, are really, really uncomfortable to play with. So here, look at those shapes where they are in some kind of drop shape as well as the more or less round shape. The whole problem here becomes that you can't really pinch grip those pieces, right? Because first of all, those ones are not really friendly for grabbing it this way. In those ones, although they have the colors as well, but the space here, the room here between the head and the color is not too wide, which doesn't allow you to actually stick your fingers in there to grab it like a pinch, okay, grip. Compared with that, I just put it in here, the Zagreb chess set has a really, it's like the reversed drop shape with the nice color here, which allows you to nicely put your fingers in there and grab this piece by its head and move. Okay, so from that perspective, this would be the most comfortable piece to play, right? I don't really say that one of them is better than the other or something, but that makes actually total sense of not distracting your attention from the game once you're playing this with those chess pieces. Okay. Also, one interesting feature about the comfortability is coming to the shape of the knight. Okay, gosh, this is a really interesting thing because knights have different shapes, and I would probably go into that a little bit more, in the aesthetical look, which is the next feature. But usually knights are designed in a really, really simple shape, which are like this one or the second one. They're really flat, right? So there is horse head, as we call, and it is flat on both sides, which allows you to just easily get that knight with your pinch grip and just move, right? Some of them are really flat, some of them have slightly concave shape here so it allows you to grab that in more firmly. The Zagreb chess set is interesting because the knight has just a little bit of a concave shape here, but the top of the head is actually thicker than the middle, which allows you also to grab that and actually that won't really slip off your fingers because it is, like thicker at the top, on the top. Uh, some of the replicas of the famous chess sets, they are not really friendly as to grabbing the pieces, although the original sets have a little bit like dents here which allow you to place your fingers in there more firmly, okay? But overall the shape of those knights are not too kind of again, not too flat, which probably would need to grab them with all, four fingers and in thumb, you know, with all your hand basically. Okay, so that's one more thing. Um, uh, what I can also say that with regards to the um, um, comfortability, I don't know which side to place it on, but I will tell you what I mean. There is also one feature of the pieces that I refer to the base of the piece. Okay, in here, what I want to point that I would strictly prefer some bases that are cylindrical in their shape, like B, C, or even D. First of all, that is more stable, right? So the base is wide, really. And the second thing is that I had my Zagreb chess set with this type of base, which is A, right? It has some kind of triangular shape here, which is at the bases. First of all, you would think like, well, there is nothing really, it's not a biggie here. But then you realize that once you grab your piece and you take another piece really quickly, like during blitz game, right? You always knock on the second piece that you take, right? And actually, this sharp edge here might create some dents on the pieces that you take, right? Especially when you do it really quickly, okay? So that's not a really nice thing, and I didn't realize that until I bought this set and actually tried to play with that. Again, if you play gently, there's not a problem once you analyze and so on, so that's not a problem at all. But if you imagine play with somebody blitz and you just quickly grab one piece by replacing it with your own, that would really dent the taken piece. Okay, not a biggie again, but just one feature to be aware of. Okay, so well, that's in general about the comfortability of the pieces, right? During the play. Okay, some of the people say also like the durability of your pieces and comfortability. Well, look, we're buying chess sets for playing chess, not for throwing pieces and so on. But well, who is is guaranteeing that you won't accidentally drop your piece? Or everything happens, right? So it would be really bad if your nice chess set, is getting one piece which is damaged. Okay, I know that chess players are perfectionists in their nature, so they could be really exact to, all of the scratches or all of the, God forbid, you know, chipping or denting of their pieces, right? So that's why I'm coming from the perspective of having a chess set for as long as possible, being having all these really durable pieces in your hand. Okay. Now, uh, we are coming to the third part, which I'm going to talk about the overall aesthetic look and um, the view of the pieces. This is probably the most disputable part because I'm not going to discuss which pieces or what chess sets are more beautiful and so on and so forth. I would just like to mention that the shape of the pieces, in my opinion, should be really strict and it shouldn't distract your attention while you are playing a game. Okay? And from this perspective, there are some of the most of the Staunton chess sets, they are quite standard, right? The most of the pieces, apart from knights, probably look well really similar, apart from small details. Okay, but there are some features of the pieces that are really important. First of all, the ratio of bases to height. Okay, why this is important? Because that could make your pieces more stable or not stable, depending, right? Uh, from this perspective, again, I would say that there are some pieces that are um, uh, have different shapes, and I'll just bring you a sample. Okay. Oh, sorry, not this one. Bring you another sample, which is this one. Okay. Here you can see that the chess sets are really different in the shapes and forms, right? They're standardized, obviously, but look how many different um, shapes there are. Okay. First of all, the set A is so-called Kubel chess set for analysis. Those chess pieces are really short, and their bases are really wide, just to make them more steady. Okay. By the way, this is not a pawn. This is a bishop. Okay. This is a king. This is the queen. This is the bishop. Okay. The second part is a really cheap, um, you know, warehouse chess set. The pieces here are not even weighted, and overall, look how tall they are, how high they are compared with the bases, right? That makes them not stable at all. Any like unfortunate touch, and these ones will be, you know, rolling on your board like pins in the bowling. Now, look at this chess set. If you are into chess sets, you will probably recognize that really well. This is the current World Chess Championship chess set. And you can swear at me or whatever, but this is not a aesthetical look of the chess. Moreover, this is look at the height of those chess pieces compared with the base. I know that they could be nicely weighted and so on, so that makes the overall chess set really stable, but this makes the height is probably like 3 times bigger than the base, which in my opinion would make those pieces are really unstable. Compare that with the regular Reykjavik chess set, for example, which is here, right? These pieces are much more stable. And in fact, FIDE regulation says that the ratio of the height to the chess base should be 2.5. Okay, that's the most stable ratio for the chess pieces. Okay, so that's why I am really into that thing, because this well, some of the features that are not coming to the actual design of the pieces could be making really not well, not really good aesthetical impression, at least to myself. Okay. So what else can I say about the aesthetical look? I don't want to point at any particular chess sets, but I will tell you some features that I really dislike. First of all, some of the luxury chess sets have just absolutely ridiculous knight shapes. Like excessive mane, excessive details of the knights, and so on and so forth. I'm not talking about the knights solemnly. There are some of the pieces that have really featured colors, for example, like triple or more layers of the colors here and there, or some kind of places here. That makes pieces really hard to manufacture, and at the same time that adds a little bit more like flash look to the pieces. But in fact, that's not really necessary. Once you play chess, there are details that you won't even notice once you play a real game. However, the knights could be really, really distinctive and they could be really, really distracting. As I mentioned, their mains could be really excessive, or there could be some features of the knights that are really, sometimes really funny. There are some knight shapes that I'm telling you, I'm looking at those knights, I'm starting to laugh. Or at least I start to grin because they look like sometimes the muzzles look like really tapir snouts or something like that. They you couldn't really look at them without laughing. Um, um, so the aesthetical look is really important. The shapes of the knights, the shapes of the other figures, and so on. The other thing I don't like the ornamental chess pieces. Oh my goodness, some of them are having some ornaments on the chess seats, on the chess minute, um, like ebonized or like and so on. Sometimes it is really hard to distinguish what chessmen are black, what chessmen are white. Definitely not a really good feature if you are looking for a practical chess set. Okay, and what else can I say about the features? Um, well, excessive details, as I said, well, not really kind of from excessive features and excessive details are also not really good because the pieces become really fragile. Okay, so the more detailed your main is, if you drop this piece accidentally, some of them will chip off much easier than if there was something really, really nice and sturdy. Uh, as I said, the chess pieces could be really ugly. In fact, right? Not even laughable, but really ugly. I don't understand some of the chess designers who design those kind of pieces because one piece could put you off from buying the whole chess set, right? So that's all I want to say about the aesthetical look of the chessmen. I don't want to discuss which is good, which is not good, which is more beautiful, which is not, because everybody has different tastes, of course. But to me, some of the I would tend to uh, go for probably mid-range chess seats rather than luxury ones. Okay, because those seats are the mid-range ones. They have beautiful chessmen and at the same time very practical, right? No excessive features, no disproportional design and so on and so forth. So that's what my personal take is based on the practical side of those chessmen. Now, um, this is probably the most um, you know most features that I wanted to mention here as to the design of the chess sets. In the last thing but not least, I would like to mention that the about the chessmen affordability as well. Okay, but first I'll just finish with the design. Um, there are also some practical features of the chessmen which are weights, and I explain why. To make the chessmen more sturdy on the and steady as well on the chessboard, there are weights used for making them um, kind of heavier. Okay, if you look at this picture here, you would see how it all looks like. Um, so usually there is a piece of metal, lead or um, steel inserted into the um, you know some holes at the bottom of the pieces, right? And then there are different methods of inserting those weights in there. Some people even cast the molten lead in there. But I think it is really barbaric. I could really burn the wood and so on, so that's not really necessary. Some other, especially old chess pieces, they use the threads there, right? So basically the lead weights were screwed in the pieces using some tools. Okay, equally good. Okay, so that it makes the weights really sitting there tight and not rattling. Okay, because that's another annoying thing about the weights, which I'll touch base a little bit later, which is rattling. The modern chess sets use the chess weights that are glued in inside of those dents, and or just the lid is squashed in, so it is just fills in the those dents tightly, so the weight is not rattled. Obviously, if the a chessman could be weighted differently, so that the regular chess set will probably weigh around 1 kilo, namely 2.5 pounds. Uh, the double weight would be probably around 130 gram, and triple weight would be around 150, 1.5 kilograms to 1.6 kilograms, around that thing. Okay, so don't like once the chess pieces are too heavy. Although sometimes it's really good, especially when you're playing blitz. The pieces are really steady. So I would go probably within double weight or triple weight, somewhere in between. Okay, probably closer to double weighted pieces. Okay. As I said, it depends on the method how the pieces are inserted in the uh, basis of the chessman, because some of the well, I know that the chess manufacturers, they are also wanting to reduce the cost of the pieces. Therefore, the chess seats are the chess the weights are inserted, and they're probably just squashing the lid there and something like that, without any additional material. Because the best way to get the weights in is to glue them in. Why? Because if the weights are attached very tight, once the pieces um, age and the wood shrinks, that would make your chessmen really susceptible to cracking. Especially those kinds of wood as ebony here, right? But equally, I saw a lot of pieces that were cracking, especially the bases of the pieces here were cracking because they were stored in a really dry climate. It also depends where you live, unfortunately, right? So the dry climate requires some additional uh, uh, measures to be taken, especially if you have really nice and expensive chess sets like humidifiers, humidifying tubes that are put in the chess storage, right? So that allows to maintain the humidity there, and your pieces will not dry off and crack, right? Uh, the other thing is that chess weights have tendency of dangling or rattling inside. That mostly refers to the glued weights, right? Once chessmen age, the glue dries off, the chessmen shrink, and that probably makes the chess weight and inside fall off the glued surface. Okay, and what happens? The chess pieces start to dangle. The weight starts to dangle inside. Really annoying thing. Okay, I know that most of the like you know economy chess sets, they have the weights glued in. The most expensive ones, they're probably squashed in or screwed in, but that makes the chessmen also susceptible to cracking, right? Once the wood gets dry. So for the not expensive chess sets, you can just remove the felt of the thing and just glue those things in. I personally repaired my chess set, the rattling weights, by putting them into on silicone. Okay, really nice medium which holds the weights inside really tightly. It actually allows you to flatten the base of the piece to glue the felt back in, and that solves the problem. Silicon is also good because if your wood shrinks, the silicon is really soft, and it has it has some ability to absorb that kind of change in your of the wood of the pieces. Okay, so that's what is really important. And I think the if the manufacturers would not you know, saving, the costs. They would put the weights into luxury and mid-range chess pieces using silicon as well, because that would increase the durability of the pieces. That will increase the period that you can use those pieces, basically to the endless period, and that would make the seat really really nice. Okay. Now, as we were speaking about, I would mention one more thing, which is the felt. Felt, it is the material, uh, usually made of wool, if it is good felt, which is glued to the bottom of the pieces. Obviously, that is made for them to not produce a knocking sound once you move the pieces, first of all. And second of all, it allows you to slide the pieces on the board if the board is without scratching that or anything. Okay. That thing is also really good. Uh, Cheaper seats have cheaper felt attached to the bottom, glued in. Some of the say plastic chess sets, they have a paper which kind of mimics the felt, but actually it's really soft on one side, but it is in fact paper, okay, which is glued into the chess pieces. This thing is also could be removed if it is worn off or got really, really dirty or something. You could obviously clean it up, but you can remove it if necessary. Especially um, once I was repairing my dangling weights, I removed those felts, and in fact they got really, really hard on the glued side. And sometimes once you glue them back, they would be lacking of the same, softness. So I finished with replacing this felt with the new one, gluing that to the base of the pieces again, which made them really soft and like easy to move. Okay, so that's the last thing I wanted to mention in the chessmen pieces and so on. Uh, the last but not least thing is the chessmen affordability. Touched that a little bit prior, but I would say that I was tending towards mid-range pieces more. There are some really nice economy sets as well, like as the one that I mentioned with the German type of knight. Usually, you could purchase these chess sets for around like 80 to 100 US dollars on different sites. They're pretty much durable chess sets, nice ones in use, and overall really really affordable. Okay, if you're looking for something more aesthetical and more beautiful, you can go with the mid-range sets. These ones could be purchased at probably within the range of 100 to $300, and they also have really good ratio as to quality to price. Okay, a little bit more beautiful pieces, tuned a little bit better with less defects and so on. Sometimes um, um, there could be still some of the things that are coming to the color of the chess pieces that could be different due to the texture of wood and so on. But I'm not too pickish about that, so I'm not picky about small differences in pieces that could be um, um, really pain in the back for somebody who's really perfectionist and wants all the pieces to be of equal color or equal shape and so on. After all of the chess pieces like knights, for example, they are made handmade, so there are no two identical pieces anyway. But I understand the ones that are perfectionists and want their chessmen to be like exactly all, all. Uh, what I can say is that obviously you need to be prepared that there are some differences and so on. So there are no perfect chess sets as well. I in general, I don't understand why why one needs to buy luxury chess set. Even if you are collecting them, right? Then you would probably hunt for something um, ancient, right? Some ancient chess sets. Buying the modern one, which are really beautiful, doesn't make any sense to me. I'm again coming from the practical perspective, and therefore, if have several chess sets, most of them are just sitting in the shelf, right, or on the somewhere, which are showing you, look how beautiful this chess set is. To me, that has really like lack of practical use. Okay, I have got my one chess set, and I don't even use it that often because these days you can use smartphones and computers for analysis and so on. It is only once you play over the board, you've got a chessboard in front of you and you're making pieces. So that's kind of point. So I don't see any, reason of buying another chess set if you already got one, unless you want to sell the old one to somebody with a reduced price and make those people happy and so on. Right. But well, look, everybody has their own opinion about that, and it's not always coming from the practical side, but also from aesthetical side. Like I would like to really have this chess set because it was played in the tournament, that or that, or somebody, this famous chess player used this chess set and so on. So I do want to have that one as well. But face it, chess set would not make you play stronger, right? It's not chess it that makes the whole deal. It is your head and what's inside. Okay. So from this point, again, obviously you can buy a nice chess set if you use that on daily basis. Otherwise, you'll be just looking at that, how beautiful it is. You'll be, noticing every single scratch on that and trying to prevent from, but in the end, that will be lack of practical value, as to me, at least. Right? So I hope I covered everything in here, and if you have any questions or any other um, things to share, please do that. You can always whisper to me on Twitch, and I'll be glad to hear whatever you think about chess sets. Also, you can share what your favorite chess sets are, because I covered just a few of them out of the vast variety that are in the market at the moment. Okay. Also, one thing I wanted to say about is there are a lot of different sites that sell so-called replicas of different chess sets. Uh, um, if you are really into chess sets and you really know what the chess sets were used in certain tournament or by a certain player, you would certainly spot the differences because there are always differences. To me, I saw probably a couple of chess sets which were almost exact replicas of whatever was used in certain tournaments. Okay, uh, but the others, even though they are saying to you like, well, this is the original chess set, like or exact replica of something, you would immediately spot the differences if you are into that. Okay. Um, so just be careful of that, right? Because you would be a little bit disappointed if you were expecting something, but in fact you will get something slightly different if you are a perfectionist or something. I'm not a perfectionist, so I could cope with small differences, but just be careful if you are. Okay. Now, what there was a question. What is your opinion on electronic seats like DGT? Um, I'm not covering those ones at all because I don't use them. We've got digital chess seats at our club, uh, exactly five of them because our club is quite small, relatively to big ones. So we use digital boards there. Our ones are probably well, they use the standard chess sets with the German knights, right? And overall, I think they're working well, right? They work well, and I I could hardly say anything about it because first of all I didn't experience a lot playing on the chessboards, and second of all of the chessboards that we use in our chess club, they are similar. Okay, so there is nothing to kind of cover or choose from. My main goal of this video was to discuss exactly the chess sets, right? Shapes, the aesthetical look, the practical side of that, the durability and so on once you're going to choose something. As to the uh, reliability of the digital chess boards, I'm probably not the expert. I'm sorry. Okay. So that's basically all I wanted to cover here. And again, thank you everybody who was watching that and who will be watching that video. I would really like to know your opinion on that. And see you next time. Thank you very much.